This conference will now be recorded.
Let us discuss one important topic. Guys, when I'm sharing notes, you may see some more examples. Okay, that is for your knowledge purpose. But the point to highlight is whatever the examples or whatever the topics, whatever the subtopics I'm discussing in the classroom, in the class, okay, those topics are very, very important for us. Okay, if I'm discussing something in the session means that is important for either for interview purpose or it is important for our real time. So make sure whatever the topics I am discussing in the session, whatever the topics I'm stressing, make sure you understand thoroughly. Okay. Okay, exception handling. So this is one of the important topics we have to use while we are writing the programs. So not only programs, for applications. So exception handling, in other terms, handling the exceptions. So what is handling? So how smoothly we can execute our program. Exception, what is an exception? So far, did we see any exceptions? We have seen some exceptions, if you remember. So when our program is not executing properly, so we used to see some errors in the console area here. Okay, the output area here, we used to see some exceptions. We used to see some errors. Okay, so exceptions will make our program terminate as unexpected way, okay, or an unwanted way. The programs will be terminated. The program will exit in an unwanted way. So we have to handle that scenarios. Say for example, what I'm trying to say here is I have two variables a comma b, for example, 10 comma 0. Two values are there. If I say print a by b, what happens? If I say print a by b, if I run this program, see here what I'm getting here. I'm getting an error message. I'm getting one exception. Here, two parts are there. If you see here, the highlighted line, zero division error. This is the exception, and this is the exception message. There are two things. Zero division error is the exception, and for every exception, we will be having one exception message. Division by zero is the exception message. Two things will be there. So if you have written one application, very good application, and you have given to end user, when they are using the application, if they are seeing this kind of messages, will they be happy? First, they will be in panic situation. Okay, why? Because they don't know any technical related keywords or anything. If you see division by zero, you can understand that there might be two numbers and one number is zero, and using which we are dividing the other number. We may guess something, right? We may understand something, but end users first they will be in panic mode when they are seeing trace back file, something like that. They will simply tell you like application is not working, application got crashed. That is those kind of messages we will receive from the end users. So instead of breaking the application this way, if you can handle this exception, if you can catch those exceptions, and if you can provide some user-friendly message, that looks great, right? So instead of showing this error message, you can show him like maybe you are trying to divide with a zero, please try with a different values, something like that. If you are showing one user friendly message, end user can understand, okay, I'm sending a wrong value for this program, I have to provide a different value. Then he will try again and he will provide the right values, right? That is one scenario. Okay, the second scenario is whenever we got an exception. For example, here in the line number 3 we got the exception. Okay, let me write a couple of statements. Print before exception. Okay, and I'll write after exception. If I run this, see here before exception is executed, and I got a message printed here before exception. Whenever I got the exception, the next statements are not executed. Whenever we get an exception, next statements will not be executed. That is a problem. What is the problem if some statements are not executed? What is the problem? Okay, for example, if you are dealing with some database connectivity, for example, okay, so you have an application which will interact with one database. When database connections are very costly, when you are connecting to the database, how to connect and all, I'll show you examples in the later session, mostly in the next week, I think. So when you are writing a connection to the database, your Python program will create some objects. Okay. After performing all your database related operations, you have to close the connections. You have to kill the connections. Otherwise, there will be some threshold limit, and it will cause performance issues of the database. If there is a threshold limit, like for 1 second, only 100 connections can be established to the database. Okay, you are creating the connections, but you are not killing the connections. After whatever the operations you want to do, you have completed, and you are not killing the connections. Then what happens if 1,000 people are using your application per second, and after 100 connections, the next connections will not be connected to the database. They will give you error, timeout errors, like it will try to connect, it will retry and try to connect to the database, and it will give the exceptions, right? So database connections are very costly. You have to open the connection as late as possible, and you have to close at the earliest possible once you are done with your operations. So every connection should be closed. Say for example, in the test program you are seeing, before line number 3, I have opened some connections, and after line number 3, I am writing the logic to close the connections. Okay, so but in between, in the line number 3, I got some exception, and all the connections are not closed. They are still open only. Okay, until the timeout or until the session ends, until some specific time, those dead connections will be there only. So that is not in use, but the connections will be there. So we are missing some important statements execution because of these exceptions. Because of these exceptions, we are having unwanted or unexpected closing of the program. We are not able to make sure we are closing the connections. Also, when you are dealing with file or binary objects, when you are dealing with the binary objects, you created one object for a file. It's of size, maybe its size is in GBs. Okay, whenever you are done with your file related operations, you must close the object, you must kill the object. Okay, if still if you want to write that kind of logic, if you and say in the same scenario, before closing your object, if you get the exception, the closing statements will not be executed. So there are some problems we have if we do not handle the exceptions properly. If we do not handle the exceptions properly in the program, then there are some problems, there are some issues, there are some disadvantages. So handling of exception is very important. Okay, when you are writing any program, first they will see, are you handling the exceptions or not? If they see you that you are writing try catch blocks, try and accept the blocks, and if you are handling the exceptions, they will feel like you are following some standards. If you are not writing exception handling code, they will think like you are not following any standards of writing code. Okay, your coding standards will be decided based on the try catch, based on whether you are writing the try catch blocks or not, whether you are handling the exceptions or not. Okay, this is some introduction about the exceptions. Okay, there are two types of errors we have while writing the program: syntax errors and runtime errors. Syntax errors are also called as compile time errors. Of course, in Python, it's like interpreted, so we can say simply syntax errors. Okay, when you are writing a program, we know that every program will have some rules. Those rules are nothing but the syntax. If you are not writing proper syntax, it will give you syntax errors. Okay. So by the time you are writing the program itself, it will give you the syntax errors. Okay. But the syntaxes are correct, and based on the data, when the program is executing, when the program is in the runtime, while you are providing some values, if you are getting errors, that is the type of errors are known as runtime errors. Okay, basically there are two types of errors: syntax errors and runtime errors. Syntax errors means when you are writing your program incorrectly, when you are writing your program wrongly, then this is known as a syntax error. Okay, your program followed all the syntaxes, but based on the data or based on some dependencies, if you are getting errors, those errors are runtime errors. For example, you have written one program to read file data. Okay, you followed all the proper syntaxes and you followed correct examples only. By the time of execution of your program, someone has deleted the file you want to read from your program. Someone has deleted some XYZ file. That XYZ file you are trying to read using your Python program. Okay, so what happens? You will get the runtime error. Okay, like the example I have shown, there are some mathematical operations you are doing, like multiplication, subtraction, division kind of things you are doing. Someone has provided 0. If you are trying to divide with the 0, okay, there is no syntax error, but in the runtime we will get the errors. Okay, so we have to handle these runtime errors. Okay, how to handle these runtime errors? Let us see. Okay, so for example, let us take the same example. Instead of hard coding, let me take some input values. Okay, a equals to int input, enter a value. I'll take one more variable, enter b value, for example, b. Okay, this is an example for a program which is not handling the exceptions. Okay, I provided 10, I provided 0. What happened? 0 division error I got. 0 division error. Okay, I'll run the program again. For example, if I say instead of providing a number, if I provided test, T-E-S-T, what happened here? I got the exception. What is the exception I got here? Value error. I got the value error. So in the line number 1, I'm trying to convert user input into integer value, but I did not provide valid input. I provided invalid input. So value is not correct. So I got the value error, right? So I need to handle them. So how to handle them? The suspected code. So whatever the code you are expecting, like it may give me some exceptions, you have to keep that code inside the try block. Okay, when we are talking about exception handling, runtime errors of exception handling, yeah, we should know three things. Okay, try block, except block, and finally. These are the three things we need to understand. When you are writing a try block, either you have to write except block or finally block or both. Okay, you must write either except block or finally block or both the blocks. We'll see with examples. Okay, so I'm suspecting there might be some there are some chances that I may get exceptions in this block. So I'm writing like this. So here I'll say except value error. Okay, print say value error. That's it. Why is giving error? We should be capital. Clear? So if I write like this, so what happens here now? So what happens here is, first the try block will be executed. If there is no error, if there is no exception, then it will go to the line number 7 or 8, whatever the statements are available. If there is any exception occurred here, if there are any errors occurred here, so what happens? It will jump onto the except block. It will jump onto the except block. So instead of showing these error messages from the system error messages, we will show whatever the message we want to show. Okay. So if I run this program, instead of providing number 10, I'll say TEN 10, for example. See here what I got, value error. So maybe we can say one proper message also. Please provide valid number. Okay. If I run this code, if I say TN10, what happens? Please provide a valid number. I'm getting some user-friendly message. So I got this message. Okay, I'm giving some wrong value. I'll go to my variables. Okay, here I have to provide the 10, but number 10, but I'm providing string 10, which is wrong. Okay, next time I will execute my program. I'll provide some proper value. Okay, so I got the proper execution of the program. If I run the program again, say provided I provided 0, I got another error. What is another? Zero division error I got. Zero division error I got. Right. So I need to handle this zero division error also. Okay. So I'll say except. Let me copy this. Print division with zero is not possible. Now if you see, so I handled both the errors. Now I don't get any errors. If I run this program, if I say 10, 0, see here, division with the 0 is not possible. I'm getting the message. I'm getting the proper message so that I can understand I'm giving 0 and I will change the data here. Is it clear so far, or any doubts till here?
Sir, I have a doubt, sir.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, sir, it depends on the errors, right? Suppose in the first line, in the second line, sir, a is equal to int of integer input is there, right?
Yes.
There it gives value error. So that's why you wrote a separate code for value error. It's like that, no?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Oh. So sir, suppose if I get error of zero division error, so
Okay.
will it not execute the fifth line, sir?
No, it will go to the line number 7 automatically.
Suppose you didn't give the code, like you erased seventh line code. So now what will happen? It will give the normal error in the runtime.
Yes, that is what I have shown, right? So if you run
Yeah.
this, zero division error, right? So 10, 0. So 0 we did not handle. So that error still be there.
Okay.
So I have to write that part also. I'll tell you how do we write in real time. There is one more point I need to add, but before that, I want you to get the doubt. So, okay. So if you don't handle that specific error, that exception we can see in the screen. Say for example, in the line number 3, I got an exception. Okay, what happens is, first it will check for this one. Like first it will go to the accept block. Okay, and it will check whether it is its exception. Every exception is an object. Okay, whether its exception object is matching with this one or not, value error or not. Yes, if it is a value error, this block will be executed. If it is not matching with this one, what happens is it will go and check for the next error. If it is matching, it will execute, and next error, like that it will check. So whenever the matching except block is found, till that it will search for the except blocks. Once it finds the proper block, that block will be executed. If it is failed to find the proper except block, then it will show you the error like this. Okay, that is what happens. That point is clear to everyone? If you get an exception, it will search for the except blocks. Okay, until it finds the matching except block, it will keep on searching. So when it gets a matching except block, that block will be executed. Okay, in the line number 4 we got the 0 division error. Okay, so first it will check in the line number 5. It is a value error, so this block will not be executed. Next it will go to like line number 7, 0 division error. It is matching, so this block will be executed. That way execution of the program will happen for the exception handling. But in real time, we don't know, there are so many types of exceptions, right? We don't know how many types of exceptions I'll get. I don't know how many types of exceptions I will be getting. So do I need to write all kinds of exception here in my program? No, we don't have to. Okay, there is a right way, I'll tell you. So exception and value 0. I think up to this program is clear to everyone. If you still have any questions, please let me know. Okay, I want to add one more program. There is a concept called generic exception. This is important. Generic exception. In real time, we use this one. Most of the times, 98% we use a generic exception. Until unless there is any specific reason or requirement, we don't go for specific errors. Okay, we'll go for generic exception. Generic exception means it will give you it will catch any type of exception. If you write only value error, it can catch only value error. If you write only 0 division error, it can catch only 0 division error. But if you write exception, okay, if you write exception, it will catch all type of error. Okay, so let me write one statement like error occurred. This something I'm writing here. If I run this program, generic exception, if I say 10 and 2, there is no error, fine, cool. Okay, next if I run again 10 and 0, see here error occurred. It is saying error occurred. Next I'll run again 10 TEN 10, see error occurred. Okay, but here one more small problem is there. I'm getting a message on generic message like error occurred or exception occurred, but I don't know what is the exception. If I don't know what is the exception, can I correct it? No. So if I'm saying when enter a value, if I say TEN 10, when it is saying error occurred, okay, when it is saying error occurred, will the end user understand? No, he don't understand. It is saying error occurred, so he will report to the developers or support team like I'm getting an error message, I'm getting error occurred message. What to do? Instead of that, if you can provide him some proper message, or if you want to provide him error message, we can do that. Like here I'll say as a message, here I'll print the message. I've shown you, right? Whenever you are getting an exception class name will be there and colon one exception message will be there. Okay, that exception message we can read, and print. Okay, let me try what it will give the output. If I say TEN 10 and enter, see here error occurred, invalid literal for int with base 10. Okay, it is saying you have provided invalid literal. Okay, of course it is more technical message only, but user can report you like, instead of saying I got error occurred, he can say invalid literal for int with base 10. This is the error I'm getting. You can simply get back to him like you got so and so error. You can provide the number like that. Or based on this error message, if you want to handle different way, like based on different cases, you want to do different logics execution, yes, you can do that. Okay, so if you want to capture the error message, yes, you can capture. So after writing the exception, not only for an exception, for a value error also, for a zero division error also, you can say as a message, and you can print the message, or if you want to log this message into your database or log file, you can log it. Whatever you want to do, you can do it. Okay, here value error I got. Let me run again. If I say 10 and 0, see here error occurred, division by 0. So I got the division by 0. As a developer, the point you have to understand is exception is a generic exception, and it is the base exception for all the other exceptions. All the other exceptions means file not found exception, zero division exception, value error exception, index out of bound exception. There are so many different types of exceptions. Okay, you just have some idea about those. There are different specific type of exceptions, but mostly we will write generic exceptions only. We write mostly generic exceptions only. Okay, is it clear? This program is clear to everyone? Any questions? If it is clear, I'll show you one more example. Type of error. Type of error means what type of error you're getting, right?
Sir,
Yes.
sir, do we have the chance of changing that technical error into understandable way, like so that like do you have any method for this?
Yes, that is what I'm saying. So based on the exception you're getting, here you can provide if-else statements. Like if message equals to division by 0, provide const so and so message. Else if message equals to so and so, like that you can write different cases.
Okay.
Okay. What if I try that? This will directly by say exception. This is an exception class. Actually, it will have 3 properties as per I remember. That's not too important. Three properties with indexes, error message, and that we can get. Okay, I'll check that example and will tell you. Okay, so till here I have shown you 2 examples, like so specific exceptions handling and generic exception handling. Is there any questions till this part? This example is very important, guys. This example we will be using in our real time when you are writing any program. Yes, Ganesh, I'll check and confirm. Yes, we can get that. I'll check and ping you the example. Okay. Okay. Yes. Yes. My answer is yes. We can get the object name as object. Like this will get some indexes. Let me try. Instead of wasting time, I'll check and confirm you. There are 3 indexes will be there. Index one is for message actually. 0 will have index 0 will have the exception type, and one more thing is there. I'll check and confirm. Okay, so if this is clear, I want to tell you one more thing. Okay, generally, if you want to write both specific errors and generic exception, we have to write this way. Okay, after writing all the specific errors, you have to write the generic exception, so that what happens, it will check the specific errors one by one. So once it is unable to find a specific exception, then it will go to the generic exception and it will be executed. Okay, for example, if I have written like this, if I am writing like this, what happens? Every exception class is a subclass of, is a child class of exception. So what happens when one exception occurred, this block will be executed. All the remaining blocks will be ignored. Someone may ask you in the interview, like if I'm writing a generic exception block as a first block, and later I have added the specific error blocks. So will it accept or not? No. So every time, for any kind of exceptions, what happens? This block will only be executed, remaining all will be ignored. So see here, if I say 10, sorry, I'm executing a wrong file. That's my program. Here it is. If I say TN10, see here, generic exception. Generic exception handle this value error. Let me run again. Say 10, 0. See here, again generic exception is coming. Okay. If I write in a reverse way, if I write the generic exception at the line number 11, okay, at the end, if I'm writing, so if I run this program, if I get any value error block will be executed. If I get any zero division error, zero division block will be executed. If I get any error other than these two, then exception block will be executed. Okay, is it clear, guys? Any questions on this part? Why so silent? Is it not clear, or you got any doubts? Understood. How about others? Harini, Madhuri, Ashwini, Priyanka, Chotu Naidu, Mahati. They're clear. Need any clarification? Please let me know so that I'll try to repeat, or I'll try in a different example. What will be the errors? Then those two. Okay, I'll provide you the list. Okay, I'll provide you the list. There are different errors. So you don't have too much worry about that. As I am saying repeatedly, you should be good with this one. We'll write some different errors, and you can see. So while writing that,
Sir, one doubt, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, the person who has developed this Python, he might have used the same technique, no, sir, to show that errors which are in red color.
Okay.
So he might. So did he use this concept, or he might have used something else?
Hmm, I didn't understand correctly. Like
No, the
developers
uh,
also should not get any error, you mean to say?
like yeah, things which are showing in red color. So now, like apart from this, like in general, when we do programming, no,
Mm-hmm.
the red color errors, no, like that user might have created by using this exception handling concept, right? No, there's a chance. I'm asking you.
Exception handling concept. No, while developing a program, they will follow some set of rules, right? Like when we are getting an exception, so this kind of details should be shown in the compiler or wherever we are displaying.
Okay.
So that kind of thing will be common for all the programming languages. Even if
Okay.
C if you consider, even Java, .NET you consider, the error message text might be slightly different, but most of the errors will be same. Okay. So if user get this kind of error, show this kind of create this kind of object and throw it. They will generally do. They'll create an object and throw. That's it.
Okay.
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 There are different types of errors are there. Okay, in the notes I'll be sharing you different types of list of errors. You can just consider like there will be arithmetic errors, floating point errors, overflow error, end of the file error, index out of box error, key error, permissions error, interrupt error. So many errors are there, but only few will be using in the real time, and mostly we will use only exception, the generic error we'll be using. Okay, and I want to show you one more example. Here we can write multiple exceptions also in one statement. If you want to write for both the value error and zero division error in the same block, do you want to write for some reason like this? Yes, you can write. You are allowed to write multiple exceptions in one statement, one single except statement. Okay. So we have seen about a try block, we have seen about except block. I mentioned we need to learn three things. Finally block also very important for us, and we have to uh, deal with these three things while we are dealing about exception handling, right? So what is finally block? If you see in our program, uh, if there is no exception occurred, all the try block statements will be executed, and it will come out of the try catch block and try and except block, and it will execute the remaining statements. If an exception occurred in the try block, a specific exception block will be executed. Okay, there will be some set of statements which should be executed compulsorily or mandatory. There will be some mandatory statements. Like as I said, an example, database connectivity example. So you will be creating database connections, database connection objects and all before starting the try block, for example. Okay. Or inside try block, if you have written the entire database related code, what happens if an error occurred, it will fail to close the database connections. Okay, if you write database connections closing code inside except block, let me write one example, guys. So that you can better understand. Finally, for example, this is my program. So a equals to 10, b equals to 0. Okay, print a comma b. Here I'm taking a wrong example, I know, but except exception print exception occurred. Okay, say for example, assume that this is my database connectivity code, or this is my print db closed. Okay, before line number 2, 3, before the highlighted lines, I have some database connections related code. I opened some database connections, or I created some large file objects. Okay, and I have written after performing all my database related operations, then I have written the statement db closed, for example. But if I write like this, what happens in the line number 4? If an error occurred, if an exception occurred, what happens? Line number 5 will not be executed. Line number 5 will not be executed. Then it will be a problem. For example, if I write these statements inside the exception block, okay, inside the exception block, I'm writing database closing related statements. Okay, now the try block is executed. If I get the exception on the line number 4, its execution will come to the except block and DB connection will be closed. That is fine. Okay. In another case, if I do not get any error here, if I did not get any error here, then except block will not be executed and database connection will not be closed. To avoid this kind of situation, we can write this kind of blocks in the finally block. Okay, finally block. We have one block called finally block. It will contain all the mandatory statements, those statements which you want to execute compulsory. If there are any compulsory statements, those statements we have to include inside the finally block. So when the finally block will be executed, whether we get an exception or not, finally block will be executed. Okay, for example, if I executed the try block, if the try block is executed without any exceptions, okay, so after executing this part, it will come to the finally block. Finally block will be executed, and the next lines of the program will be executed. Okay, if I get the exception, for example, in the line number 4, I got the exception, then exception block will be executed, and then finally block will also be executed. Okay, here how to remember is finally block. If no exception, if there is no exception, try block and finally block will be executed. Okay, if exception occurred, except block, of course try block will be executed partially, so until we get the exception, try block partial execution, except block will be executed, then finally block will be executed. This is important thing, and this is what you have to remember about finally block. Okay, if there is no exception in the try block code will be executed and finally block code will be executed. If there is some exception in the try block will be partially executed until the statement that is giving exception, all the lines will be executed, then except block will be executed, then finally block will be executed. So when we are talking about finally block, what we need to say is, so if there are any statements which are compulsory for you to get executed, those kinds of statements we write inside the finally block. If I take these two as user inputs, okay, we can see both the cases. See, case number 1, I'm running this program. I'll give the valid state values. Okay, I have given valid values. So try block is executed, print a by b is printed here, except block is not executed, and finally block is executed and a db closed is printed here. Okay, when there is no exception, try block is executed and finally block is executed. Now I'll run the program again with an exception. Okay, 10 for example. See here. So after this line, I got an exception. So these lines are skipped. Line number 3 and 4 are skipped. Next, exception occurred. So this is coming from here. Except block is executed. Next DB closed. That means finally block is also executed. So this flow of execution of exception handling is important for us. Okay, you got some idea about how the flow of execution is happening? Any questions on this part? Is it clear, guys? No, yes. Any questions? Okay, good. Okay, then there is one more topic we need to talk about. If we can complete that one also. Custom exceptions. So it would be, we can say it is completed. Okay, there is a concept of custom exceptions also in Python. Of course, nested as exception handling, am I allowed to write? Yes, we can write. In any block of your code, if you want to write again try catch block, yes, you can write. Inside the try block, if you want to write one more try catch block, yes, you are allowed to write. Okay. So till now we have seen some. I have listed only, I have shown you only two types of exceptions, value error and division by zero. So there will be file not found exception also will be there. Index out of bound error will be there. For example, if you are printing, say for example, if there is one list, for example, print a of 10, if you are saying like this, okay, that index is not available. So index error will be there. Okay, this kind of errors, there are some list of errors. On need basis, you can search in the Google and you can use them. That's not a problem. But most of the times, as I'm repeatedly telling you, generic exceptions only we will write most of the times. If there, until unless if there is any specific properties you want to get from a specific exception type, you don't go for specific errors. Okay, that is one thing I want to tell you. So if you are if you want to have your own exception class, so instead of using the existing exception classes from the Python, you want to create your own custom exception. Am I allowed? Yes, I am allowed. You want to create your project specific exceptions, your project specific error messages you want to create, for example. Yes, you can create them. Let me write a couple of errors, like a class too young exception, for example. I have to inherit exception class into my except class. Okay, I must have one constructor also. Let me take some message or arguments, some arguments. Self dot message equals to arg. Okay, I'll take one more custom class. Too old, for example. That's it. I want to write my own exception mechanism. So I have created two exception classes here. Too young is one class, too old is another class. These are my custom exception classes. So when I want to make one class as a custom exception class, I need to inherit an exception class. Okay, I have done that. Then I have to write my constructor, whatever the values I want to. Okay, here I want to get some value from the user. Maybe if you want to hard code, yes, you can hard code also some value. Here I will do that. Say insufficient age. Maybe applicant is too young for this job. Okay, like this I want to show one message again. again applicant is too old for this job. Okay, I want to create my application specific exceptions, for example. Now what I'll do is I will read the input like this: age equals to int input, enter age of the applicant. Okay, this is the consumption. Okay, till here we have created a couple of custom exception classes. Okay, these two young and too old are the custom exception classes I have created, and I provided some properties here. Message property I have created here. If you want any other properties, yes, you can add them. Then I'm using it. Say for example, if age is greater than 60, age is greater than 60, then rise too old exception. Else if age is less than 18, for example, rise to young exception. Else print application accepted. Okay, simple. I tried to make it very simple. So I created two exception classes and I'm writing a condition here. So if age is greater than 60, I'm saying rise to old. So this too old exception will be raised. So it will print that message. Next, I'm saying age is less than 18. So then I'm rising too young. So too young exception will be raised and it will print the message. So if age is not greater than 60 and if age is not less than 18, then I'm saying application accepted. Okay, let me run this program. Why it's not taking immediately? Save it. Custom exception. See, enter age of the applicant. I'll say 10, for example. See, I got the exception. Too young. I got the exception called too young. Now I'll run this again. 65. Too old. We'll run this again. Say 25. Okay. Application accepted. I got the message. Application accepted. Oh, this way we can write. Why it's not showing to in the stage?
So just type message, sir. It's not self-dot message. If you just type message, it might work. Otherwise, you need a help of an object.
I don't think so. Try once. Too old. Too old. Too old. Too old. It's up to you. It's not mandatory to have the message and all. It's up to you. If you want, you can print that. But I expected this one too old, right? 70. Okay. Okay. This is another way. Previously, I started this way only. It's up to you. If you want like this, yes, you can pass as arguments. Okay. If you are passing the arguments, I mean the exception message as an argument, it will be considering so exception message also. It's up to you how you want to define. So anyhow, when the exception raised, this constructor will be executed. Inside the constructor, whatever you want to do, maybe if you want to execute some set of statements, or if you want to do something, yes, you can do that. Okay. So do we really write custom exceptions in real time? If you ask me, I'll say no. Okay. So, but just for your knowledge purpose, keep it with you. We don't know. Sometime, if you are more into more depth into this kind of things, you may use it. But 95, 97%, I can tell you that there will be no chance that you will write this kind of custom exceptions in your application development. If you are specific to any kind of programming language enhancements kind of thing, then you may get into this kind of requirements. Okay, hope this is clear to everyone. Okay, to make sure you understand it good. Any questions on this part? So these are the important things we need to learn about exception handling concept. So the flow is important. Try and except blocks are important. Generic exception is important. How to print a message is important. And finally, custom exception. Just we should have some idea about the custom exception. Anyhow, I'll be sharing you the notes. There will be the list of all other types of exceptions. You can find them. And generally, we don't get any need to write specific exceptions in real time. But if you want to get, you can search in the Google and you can write the same code. Okay, that is always be there. Yes, this is the thing about exception handling. So I want you to write one program, any sample program you try to write, and use try block, except block, and finally block, and submit the assignment. So let me create one task for you in the classroom.